There's obviously not a quorum present, and we're going to get started, and then we'll take votes as members arrive. We have a long agenda, so what I'm going to ask everyone to minimize your testimony. The bills are in good shape for the most part, or they wouldn't have been scheduled. There's a couple that need some modifications, and we'll do that before they go to the floor. Those that sign in that do not wish to testify will be read into the record at the close of the meeting. Obviously, if you have a personal story that you need to share, we'll certainly accommodate you. But if you need to get your per diem by testifying, just raise your hand and I'll let you take a note back, okay, or something. But anyway, we've got a lot of serious work to do this morning. Welcome, Senator King and Flores. First, I'm going to start with Senator Zaffirini, who's got a busy agenda this morning on House Bill 611. Senator Zaffirini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 611 by Giovanni Capriglione relates to the creation of the criminal offense of unlawful disclosure of residence address or telephone number. Members, doxing is the process of searching for and publishing private or identifying information without permission of the person on the internet, and is a growing problem. It's often used as a tool for harassment online. Generally, this bill would make it a Class B misdemeanor to post the residence, address, or telephone number of a person with the intent to cause harm or a threat to harm to that person or a member of the person's family or household.
Very good. Thank you, Senator Zaffirini. Any questions of the author? Chair hearing none. Chris Jones has signed up in support. Anyone else who would like to testify for or against House Bill 611? Not, public testimony is closed. Senator Zaffirini, I know you got a bunch more.
1589.
1589. Chair recognizes Senator Zaffirini on House Bill 1589.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 1589 is by Representative David Cook. It relates to increasing the criminal penalty for certain family violence assaults. Currently, there are no enhanced penalties for repeatedly violating bond conditions or protective orders, meaning that persons who have a demonstrated pattern of violence do not face more significant punitive measures. Generally, this bill would increase the conviction for violating court orders or bond conditions related to family violence from a Class A misdemeanor if the defendant has previous convictions for the same, and increase the penalty to a second-degree felony if the defendant has a prior conviction and obstructs the person's breathing or blood circulation during the assault.
Any questions of the author? Carries none. A couple of witnesses. Lindy Borcott.
Chair Whitmire, in the interest of time, I'm here to answer any questions concerning this bill.
I appreciate it, Mr. Borcott. You can state your name and who you represent.
I'm Lindy Borchardt. I'm an Assistant Criminal District Attorney in Tarrant County. On behalf of Phil Sorrells, the Criminal District Attorney, we fully support House Bill 1589.
We appreciate you being here, and the bill's in good shape.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. Paige Williams, Dallas County District Attorney's Office is here. Chris Jones with the Fleet. And John Wilkerson with Texas Municipal Police Association is in support. Anyone else like to testify for or against House Bill 1589? Chair hears none. So done. Senator Zaffirini, now on House Bill 2086.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 2086 is by Representative Marianne Pettis. It relates to creating a criminal offense for interfering with a motor fuel metering device or motor fuel unattended payment terminal. Generally, it would create the second-degree felony offense or interference with a motor fuel metering device or motor fuel unattended payment terminal.
Any questions of the author? Chair hears none. A couple of folks have signed up. Jessica Escobar with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation is a resource witness. Paige Williams with the DA's Office of Dallas. Jennifer Sabinsky, Combined Fleet. And James Smith, San Antonio Police Department, is in support. Anyone else like to testify for or against Senate Bill 2086? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. We'll leave the bill pending. Senator Zaffirini on House Bill 2087.
Thank you, members. House Bill 2087 by Representative Marianne Pettis relates to the Financial Crimes Intelligence Center. It's a related bill to the one we just laid out. Basically, it's because criminals are installing pulsar manipulation devices to manipulate the counter at a gas pump so it no longer accurately measures how much fuel is being dispensed. House Bill 2087 would task the Financial Crimes Intelligence Center with responding to motor fuel theft.
Any questions for the author? Chair has none. Anyone would like to testify for or against House Bill 2087? Public testimony is closed. Senator Zaffarini,
3852.
let me catch up with you. Chair recognizes Senator Zaffarini on House Bill 3852.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, this is another related bill by Representative Mariam Bettis. House Bill 3852 relates to the prosecution of the offense of fraudulent use or possession of credit card or debit card information. Generally, it would extend the venue flexibility the legislature approved for prosecuting credit and debit card skimming to the offense of fraudulent use or possession of credit or debit card information.
Any questions of the author? Chair has none. Public testimony is closed. I think that takes care of you.
Yeah.
Very good. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and
Good
members.
session. Good session. Senator Sparks. Let me see where you are on my list. I think Chair recognizes Senator Sparks to lay out House Bill 64.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This is a local bill. The Ector County Hospital District Police play a vital role when it comes to safety operations in and around our local hospitals there, especially Medical Center Health System, which serves as the main trauma center for 18 West Texas counties. House Bill 64 would simply amend Transportation Code to include officers commissioned by Ector County Hospital District as peace officers eligible to conduct police escorts. Chief Cecil unfortunately could not make it here today, but he has provided written testimony I'd gladly distribute it. I would also add that the Ector County Sheriff is in favor of this bill, confirmed that with him yesterday. Members, again, this is a local bill trying to take care of a concern. I ask your favorable consideration of
Very
House
good.
Bill 64.
Good job, Senator. Any questions, Senator Sparks? Chair hears none. Anyone would like to testify for or against Senate Bill 64? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. I think I just saw Senator Hughes walk in.
1136 and 1730. 1136 and 1730.
Chair lays out House Bill 1730 and recognizes its author, Senator Hughes, its sponsor, I should say. Senator Hughes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I thank you and your excellent staff and members for working with us here. House Bill 1730. Right now, the harshest charge for indecent exposure in Texas is a Class B misdemeanor, no matter how many times one reoffends. In fact, a second conviction of indecent exposure is the only crime under the sex offender crime list that is not a felony. And these can have lifelong traumatic events, and without an enhancement, you can imagine how repeat offenders have no disincentive to continue that activity. Brought to us by our great prosecutor back home and needed across the state. And so I thank you for your consideration and yield for questions.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions from committee? None coming forth. We have several DAs and law enforcement support that will be read into the records later today. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1730? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. Senator, we'll leave it pending arrival of a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You also had 1136.
Senator Hughes on 1136.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, again, thank you and your excellent staff and members. House Bill 1136 deals with something, another difficult topic, but important. Right now, a lifetime registration on the sex offender registry is for adults convicted of trafficking a child, compelling prostitution of a child, trafficking an adult. But those convicted of compelling prostitution of an adult register for only 10 years. Now, being forced or threatened into prostitution is a horrible, unspeakable act, long-lasting traumatic effects. House Bill 1136 updates the penal code to add lifetime registration for those convicted of compelling prostitution. That's what the bill does, an important bill, and thank you for hearing it. Ask for your consideration.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions? Chair is none. There's several law enforcement agents who signed up. There's one in opposition, Shea Place, with Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association is opposition, does not wish to testify. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1136? Not, public testimony is closed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Takes care of you, I believe. Any members present not on the committee? I see Senator King's got one.
1163.
Yeah, I got it. Sure. That's all right. That's why we're here. House Bill 1163 recognizes its sponsor, Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and member. This is Reggie Smith's bill from the House. It creates an offense of voting while intoxicated with a child. The current law, voting intoxicated is a misdemeanor offense. Punishment remains the same even if there's a child in the vote. This would parallel what's done with driving a vehicle now, in that it would make it a state jail felony if you're driving a boat intoxicated and placing a child at risk.
Any questions? Chair hears none. Cheryl Lee, lost my.
Yes, sir. I'm just here for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. With the Chambers County District Attorney, we appreciate you being here, and your support is well documented.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Ryan Barnett with Parks and Wildlife is a resource witness. Paige Williams, the DA in Dallas, is in support, and John Wilkerson with TMPA. One opposition to Shea Place, Texas Criminal Defense Lawyer Association. Anyone else present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 1163? Chair is none. Public testimony is closed. Let me see that we got a quorum. Will the clerk call the roll on this? Let everybody know we're,
Whitmire,
yes, present.
Flores. Here. Hinojosa,
Present.
King.
Here.
4-0, sir. There's a quorum.
Okay, if quorum's established, we can start voting if we choose. I think I'll wait just a little while. It'd be more efficient to do it a little later. Senator King, are you ready on 1185?
I am
You're recognized.
1185.
1385.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
If the members recall, we all worked together on a grid security bill that actually created an offense for intentionally causing acts of damage to the grid that shut down power for large areas. It even previously you could cause the death of someone and not be actually charged with murder. You were just charged with vandalism. That bill passed out unanimously out of the committee and out of the Senate. It's gotten kind of stalled in the House. Representative Shaheen has a bill that created a small offense very similar to the one this committee passed out. We have simply tacked this committee's bill onto that. And it should be.
Did you have a committee substitute or?
Yes, I am sorry.
No, that's okay. Why don't we, for purposes of moving this forward, Senator Flores moves the adoption of House Bill 1385, this committee substitute for House Bill 1385. Is there objection to the adoption? Chair hears none. I think you just described the changes.
It is essentially the same bill that the committee previously passed.
Very well, very well.
There's a sum for this one.
Mr. Chairman, I may have made a mistake here.
1833, I think is
Which bill did you have up?
I had 1385. Clerk sitting here telling me you
I
were
explained 1833.
1883. I think that works too.
And I do not have sub for 1385.
Okay, let's back up then.
So this one right here is the one with.
So you just described the committee substitute for, no,
So he did this one right now. 1385.
no, I know what he did.
I laid out 1833 in error.
Yeah, no problem. Just a second. Okay, you laid out the committee substitute. So Senator Flores moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 1833. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute for House Bill 1833? Chair hears none. And you just did a fine job of explaining the committee substitute for 1833.
Apologize.
No, don't, this is why they call this kind of like making sausage, you understand, this, it works. Very good. So you've had public testimony. Anyone like to testify on the committee substitute for House Bill 1833? Chair hears none, so we'll leave that pending the vote. And now I think you have another one what's his?
This one is 1385.
Okay, let's go back to 1385. Chair recognizes you.
We do not have a substitute.
No,
This
yeah.
is Chairman Booth.
So we're reconsidering that committee substitute that we adopted a while ago. Is there objection to putting it on the table now? So now tell us the House Bill 1385.
House Bill 1385 is Chairman Moody's. Many counties in Texas operate a pretrial services office that assesses whether a defendant qualifies for a personal bond, recommends bond conditions to magistrates and monitors a defendant's compliance with bond conditions pending resolution of the charge. In the past, DPS provided this criminal history record information to pretrial services, but has recently stopped because of a change in the agency's statutory interpretation. 1385 provides a technical correction on this issue and explicitly requires DPS to share this critical information with pretrial service offices, including community supervision and corrections departments and personal bond offices. And it will just provide all their criminal history information.
Very good. Any questions of the author? Chair is none. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1385? Chair is done. Public testimony is closed. Let me go up here. Springer. House Bill 55. Recognize the sponsor, Senator Springer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. What this bill looks to do is increase the criminal offense for indecent assault and increasing the penalties. The Penal Code, Section 22.012.
Just let me interrupt you. Mr. Parnell, would you shut that back door, please? I'm sorry, Springer.
Thank you. I
picking.
thought I was hearing a little bit of a roar.
Yeah.
I thought everybody was excited I was finally here laying a bill out. Okay.
No, it's not.
That's definitely not that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Penal Code Section 22.012 establishes that the offense of indecent assault is a Class A misdemeanor. But currently, there is no provision for felony enhancement for an indecent assault behavior committed by an individual, even if the case of multiple times similar attacks on an individuals or groups of individuals. The bill would elevate the offense of indecent assault to a state jail felony if it was shown at trial that the offense and the defendant had been previously convicted of such an offense. If the defense was acting as a healthcare service provider and a mental health service provider. And what we've had on this is we've had doctors that had their patients under, anesthesia and this, and they're copping a feel. And they keep getting busted. This guy's been busted 20 times, but he always just gets a misdemeanor. And we need the ability to be able to enhance that. I do have a committee sub, though.
You have a committee sub.
I have a committee.
The floor sends up committee sub for House Bill 55. Is there objection to the adoption? Chair is none. You want to tell us the changes?
The committee sub removes an amendment that was put on the House, and it was non-related to the bill. It was to address a matter that has been taken care of in the House.
Very good. Anyone present? Jay Inish?
Yeah, good morning, Your Honor. My name is Jay English, and I'm here as the voice of the 28 women who were sexually abused by Dr. Dennis Dewan, a cardiologist in Weatherford, Texas.
You're welcome to have a seat if you'd like to.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Dewan assaulted these women not in a penetrative way. His MO was massaging, pinching, squeezing the breasts of these women. He pretended it was in the course of routine cardiological exams. It clearly was not. Finally, these women questioned what went on with them because this healthcare provider, they're in a cardiological office seeking cardiological care. One of the women at some point realized, only after, by the way, the doctor was displaying some excitement, only realized then for the first time that this really had crossed that line. She made a report. There was some press. Ultimately, 5 women came forward that were willing to identify themselves as victims of these assaults, and 23 other women provided information to the police about assaults that they experienced also in routine cardiological exams. There was an arrest warrant issued for him. He was arrested, and the Texas Medical Board temporarily suspended his license depending on the outcome of his criminal charges. Ultimately, in Parker County, he received a deferred adjudication to misdemeanor B charge that allowed him to serve a very short period of probation, and then has gone on to resume his license and his practice. He does not have to register as a sex offender. And so, in many ways, my clients feel like they've been victimized twice. Clearly 23 of these folks were assaulted by this doctor, and ultimately he emerged from it because of this defect in the law with absolutely no consequences. These folks simply ask you to sew up a hole in the law that would allow these cases of egregious molestation, despite the fact that there is no penetration, to nevertheless be prosecuted as felonies. That's all I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 55? Hearing none, public testimony is closed. Thank you, Senator Springer. Good bill.
Thank you.
There are some law enforcement DAs signed up in support. We'll read those into the record later in the hearing.
Mr. Chairman, do you know what time you may be trying to vote?
No, but we'll accommodate the members, even if we have to do it after we go into session. There's going to be about 43 of them, so I'd like to wait for the full membership. So let's have our public hearings, and then we'll vote later in the day, even if we... You take your time, we'll accommodate you and the other members. Senator Menendez, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me get to you.
Dealer's choice.
I'll show you House Bill 2187.
Yes, sir. I got two.
Chair recognizes you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this bill expands the protections for abandoning and endangering offenses to include older adults and individuals with disability. As you all know, current law only provides that protection for children with these offenses. There is no statute to protect our older adults with individuals with disabilities. And this bill would simply add the language elderly and disabled individuals to an existing offense in the penal code, and adding that would hold those who choose to take advantage of these individuals accountable. And with members, with this bill passed out of the House with 140 votes. That's my layout.
Very good. Any questions of the author? Chair is none. Paige Williams would like to testify.
I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any.
Paige, I think we're in good shape. Thank you for being here. There are others, Jennifer Szyminski with Combined Law Enforcement, John Wilkerson, Texas Municipal Police. Anyone else would like to testify for or against House Bill 2187? Not, public testimony is closed. I know you got another one, Senator Menendez.
4759, Mr. Chairman.
Slow down, just let me catch up. Chair recognizes Senator Menendez to lay out House Bill 4759.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, there is a committee sub, Mr. Chair.
Sir?
I believe there's a committee sub. There is no committee sub? Maybe there wasn't. No? If there isn't? There it is.
Let us adopt that substitute.
Yeah.
Senator Flores moves that we adopt. Why don't you describe the changes with the
Absolutely,
substitute?
Mr. Chairman. Just so you know here, the committee sub simply adds language to ensure that those who make a report have their information protected only for the reported purposes of a sworn statement, there still will be, their name and address will be held with the city's animal control facility, but because of the specific situation where we had a known criminal threatening his neighbors, that person wouldn't know immediately, and that's because for their protection. So if I can lay this out real quickly for you. Mr. Chairman and members, February 24th of this year, we had an 81-year-old veteran and his 74-year-old wife viciously attacked by 3 pit bulls as they were trying to get back into their vehicles. Both individuals were mauled. A relative suffered a bite to the hand. A firefighter had a punctured leg. And sadly, the husband perished, and the wife was left in critical condition in the hospital.
The bill's in great shape, sir.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, then, but it's as important, Mr. Chairman, and I'm just going to do it real quick. The reason we have this bill is because all of the neighbors were afraid to report it out of retaliation for the dog owner who was a gang affiliated and had threatened the neighborhood if anybody reported his dog. And so we have a big problem. There's a resource witness if you need him here from the San Antonio Animal Care Services to answer any questions.
Nope.
But I appreciate it.
Anyone present that would like to testify for and against committee substitute for House Bill 4759? Not, public testimony is closed. Good job, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Johnson, I see you have one, House Bill 3858. Chair recognizes you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. House Bill 3858 establishes a Peace Officer Wellness Fund to the Health and Human Services Commission to distribute grants to law enforcement agencies that offer free professional mental health services. There have been pilot programs of this sort at various police departments around the state, including my own Dallas Police Department. It's had great success establishing wellness units. They employ checkpoint officers. They make unsolicited calls of support to officers that particularly have been responding to traumatic incidents like homicides, suicides, fatal collisions, to check on their well-being and offer them professional counseling. Counseling services come free of charge. HHSC will be responsible for adopting the rules and procedures for implementation of the bill, but by establishing the fund, we do help to ensure that those who are risk of lives protecting the communities are offered support from their colleagues and make them carry out and then basically you see better law enforcement and happier officers.
We have Veronica Martinez with Health and Human Services Commission as a resource. A number of law enforcement agencies are in support, which will be read into the record. Is anyone present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 3858?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to announce the presence of the Dallas Police Chief, who's here in the room, who is one of the pioneers in this area and has greatly improved the wellness and effectiveness of the Dallas Police Force.
He and his team are welcome and recognized for the work they do, and we're going to get them out here as quick as we can to let them go back to Dallas and enforce the laws.
Excellent.
This is probably not the best use of his time, but this is an important role, but we know he is well supported by the Dallas delegation, his troops on the ground, and his mayor. So I applaud his proactive police work.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
With that said, anyone would like to testify for or against Chief? Would you like to say something? No. I want to get you out of here. Public testimony is closed. You got another one? Let me go back. Yeah, what's your number? 5180. On the back, please. Okay, let's go to 5183. Chair recognizes Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is essentially a cleanup bill from the Department of State Health Services regarding equivalent education programs for those who had their driver's license suspended. They have to get them back. They have to take various courses, but there's some inconsistencies with who administers the courses as between DSHS and TDCJ. This bill cleans it up and makes it clear which agency has to administer which programs under which conditions. Basically, it's an administrative restructuring to make sure that everything's consistent. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Very good. Thank you. April Samora with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice is a resource. Lindsay Reed, Health and Human Services Commission is a resource. And, of course, Paige Williams with the Dallas DA's office is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 5183? If not, public testimony is closed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
What's the other one? There are no more.
House Bill 1603.
1603. Let me get to it. We probably ought to get to those. Okay, Senator Hinojosa on House Bill 1603.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. The Criminal Code previously required the mandatory appointment of an attorney pro tem for the state in municipal and justice courts. However, this provision was repealed and resulted in confusion and uncertainty regarding the appointment of an attorney pro tem in these courts. Without clarity, the interests of the state cannot be adequately represented in these courts. House Bill 1603 seeks to address this issue by providing for the appointment of an attorney pro tem in municipal justice courts and setting out related procedures.
Any questions of the sponsor? Chair hears none. Mark Goodner is a resource witness. Texas Municipal Courts. Dean Kuykendall with the Texas Municipal Court Association is a resource. T.J. Patterson, City of Fort Worth, is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1603? If not, public testimony is closed.
I have House Bill
2741.
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When the legislature established the Specialty Courts Advisory Council, the statute identified the type of specialty courts that are considered as treatment courts. Last session, the legislature established the Juvenile Family Drug Court Program. House Bill 2741 simply amends the statute to add this new court to the Advisory Council.
Very good. Any questions, Senator Hinojosa? Chair hears none. Anyone present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 2741? If not, public testimony is closed.
I have two of Senator Perry's, if I may. I have two other bills that I'm allowed for Senator Perry.
For Senator Perry?
House Bill 5370.
Hold on. $53 what?
5370. 70.
5370?
I'm sorry, this is by Bob Hall,
Yeah.
the sponsor.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa to lay out Senator Hall's bill on House Bill 5370.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Currently, the Juvenile Board of Navarro County is composed of district judges, the district attorney, and the county judge. Previous legislation established a county court of law which has jurisdiction over juvenile cases. Stakeholders in Navarro County have asked us to amend the statute to include the court of law judge on Navarro County Juvenile Board, which is what this bill does.
You want to lay it out after this? Yes. Yeah. Any questions of Senator Hinojosa? Chair hears none. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 5370? Chair hears none. Show Senator Bentoncourt present.
I have one more, Mr. Chairman.
If you don't mind, I'm going to let Senator Flores, who needs to get
No,
to
that's
another
fine.
committee, and then I'll get right back
I
to
don't
you.
mind at all. This is not mine. I'm
Yeah,
helping out.
yeah, I understand. What's your number?
1133.
For Spiller?
Yes, Spiller.
Chair recognizes Senator Flores on House Bill 1133.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, law enforcement is struggling to find vacancies, and many agencies simply do not have enough workforce budget to assign someone to provide extra security. The bill was brought to our office by a constituent who was not able to donate services to uniformed peace officer at a local school project without risking criminal charges because they were not listed as a reserve. House Bill 1133 provides additional options to how school and places of religious worship can better protect their students and congregation. Will allow for reserve peace officers to voluntarily without compensation to provide security at an event sanctioned by public primary or secondary school place of religious worship.
Very
Thank you,
good,
Mr. Chairman,
Senator.
members.
John Wilkerson would like to testify. Mr. Wilkerson?
Mr. Chairman, don't want to waste your time, just here to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions of Mr. Wilkerson? Chair has none. I think the bill is in great shape. Thank you for bringing it forward. Anyone else present like to testify for or against House Bill 1133? Chair has
Thank you.
none.
I'm going to go with that.
Sir? No, we've got a long list that we're going to vote later, Paul.
No problem. I'll
You ready to lay out yours? Well, I told him the host I'd come back to him. Just a sec. What's your number?
That's House Bill 2523.
2520. Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa to lay out House Bill 2523.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Under current law, court-appointed attorneys are reimbursed for some of the costs associated with representing their clients. However, several counties house defendants in jails outside the county from where the trial will occur, and court-appointed attorneys can be burdened by long-distance travel costs to meet with their clients. House Bill 2523 allows court-appointed attorneys to be reimbursed for reasonable and necessary travel expenses if the attorney travels more than 50 miles to meet with a defendant who is housed in an out-of-county jail.
Very good. Sarah Mae Jennings with Texas Fair Defense Project is in support. Paige Williams with the DA's Office of Dallas is in support. And Shay Place with Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association is in support. Anyone else would like to testify for or against House Bill 2523? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. Does that complete your business?
Yes.
I saw, Paul, let me get to Senator Middleton, who is not on the committee. Senator, you're come forward on, let me find you. House Bill 3917, you have a couple. Chair recognizes Senator Middleton to lay out House Bill 3917.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As members of the committee, concerns have been raised regarding the lack of enforcement accountability with our truancy laws. House Bill 3917 provides an alternative to assist school districts in holding a parent accountable for not following the compulsory attendance laws. It amends Article 45.05131 of the Code of Criminal Procedure to waive a fine imposed on a parent if the parent completes an alternative requirement by the school district. This can include attending counseling, trainings, programs, or other services designated by the school district within a certain period designated in statute or as agreed to by the parent and the school district. School districts are not required to offer any such programs, but may elect to provide this alternative rather than a traditional fine or other punitive measure. These programs and services could be provided through state or local counseling resources or faith-based entities. The training may include information on parenting, including parental responsibility under Texas law regarding truancy, and none of these changes would impact students or other parts of our truancy laws. With that, I yield.
I hope, Senator Middleton, that you and I will monitor this new law. It could be a great tool for school districts, but on the other hand, if it's abused, it could become an impossibility for families and parents to complete. I hope it just doesn't drag them down to the point that if they keep adding a new requirement, you've got to go to this additional counseling, you've got to go to this additional training. Some of this truancy is hardship cases of either transportation or domestic issues that separate families, and kids can't go to school. So right. I've made kind of a career of exploring the ills of truancy. Kids need to go to school, but sometimes it's no fault of a single mom that's leaving a domestic abuse case, and the kids are in the car and they miss school, and I could go on and on the hardships I've heard, but your legislation could really be helpful because it gives a diversion program and keeps the kids out of the criminal justice system as well as the parents. So good piece of legislation. Paige Duggins Clay has submitted testimony, written testimony, and several other law enforcement. Alicia Castillo with Texas Center for Justice and Equity is in support. Anyone else present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 3917? Chair hears none. Good job. I've got you down for House Bill 5309.
Real quick, I've got about a minute, but here, I have to go run local government here in about 15 minutes.
Well, I'm sorry, but he's got things to do too.
Yeah, no,
anyway, Senator Bencourt, I'm messing with you.
I'm always good to yield
Your
to the
chairman.
man. Yeah.
Senator Middleton, do you mind if I go to the chairman?
Not at all. Yeah.
Only this one time, why did I do this? Senator Bentoncourt on House Bill 1227.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members, House Bill 1227 by Representative Metcalf adds the offense of promotion or possession of child pornography to the list of offenses that restricts judge-ordered community supervision and increases the amount of time that must be served before the defendant is eligible for parole, prevented the sentence present. The offense of possession or promotion of child pornography is not on the current list of agreed offenses for which defendants are ineligible to receive judge-ordered community services. With that, House Bill 12, that's the offense.
Very good. Any questions, Senator Bentoncourt? Chair hears none. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1227? We have Shannon Edmonds with the Texas District Attorney and Counties Attorney Association as a resource, and several other law enforcement agencies which will be read into the record. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1227? Chair hears none. Move on. Go do your work.
I'm going to offer to babysit his kids, so I can have
No.
this again.
No, go. How many bills do you have set for today?
Dozens and dozens and dozens.
Go.
That's right.
Thank you. Senator Milton, House Bill 5309.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The House Bill 5309 by Representative Leo Wilson. And what this addresses is the Director of Juvenile Justice for Galveston County has reached out to myself and Representative Wilson to express interest in amending the Galveston County's Juvenile Board's meeting requirements. Currently, Section 1520901D of the Human Resources Code requires the board to meet monthly to discuss business. Board members have communicated this requirement as burdensome and unnecessary in relation to their workload. Section 152.002 of the Human Resources Code merely requires quarterly meetings for juvenile boards across the state. The Galveston County Juvenile Board requests that their meeting requirement is aligned with the other juvenile boards in the state, and HB 5309 repeals
Very good.
52.
Glenn Watson.
Yes, sir. This here is a resource if y'all have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for traveling down, and Bill's in great shape. Your senator's doing a great job.
Thank you. More.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else would present like to testify for House Bill 5309? Chair hears none, so granted. Senator Middleton, I believe you have one more, House Bill 3981.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Line out House Bill 3981 by Representative Paul. Article 2.127 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure designates arson investigators as peace officers. Arson investigators will typically fall under the jurisdiction of a fire marshal's office or fire department investigation division. To provide clarification, this bill adds subsection 35 to designate fire marshals, investigators, or inspectors of a municipality who hold a permanent peace officer license as peace officers. So House Bill 3981 designates a fire marshal who works for a municipality and has already earned a peace officer's license as a peace officer in Texas statute.
Very good. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 3981? Chair hears none. Thank you. Representative Frazier, I'm going to get to your business in a moment, but I've got a senator at the table, and you know how that works. But we'll get to you and your constituents in a moment. Senator Alvarado, what is your number? 2715. Recognize Senator Alvarado.
Good morning, Dean Whitmire, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me for interrupting. Show Senator Miles present.
Okay. House Bill 2715 makes it clear that tracking or monitoring someone through a vehicle in their possession, through a tracking application or tracking device, or by physically following the person without effective consent constitutes a harassment if done with the intent to harass or abuse a victim.
Any questions of the sponsor? Chair hears none. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 2715? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. There are several witnesses, law enforcement, they've signed up in support, and they'll be read into the record at the appropriate time. Senator Alvarado, I believe you've got House Bill 3005. Chair recognizes you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 3005 expands the list of offenses where a victim can qualify for a pseudonym to include indecent assault and invasive visual recording. These offenses require victims to provide incredibly intimate testimony and evidence. The bill will protect victims who do not want their names to be associated with the intimate footage or testimony in public records for the rest of their lives.
Very good. Any questions of the sponsor? Chair hears none. Jennifer Mudge with the Texas Council of Family Violence is in support, does not wish to testify. I have several DAs and several combined law enforcement, Dallas Police, I can go on and on, supporting this good legislation. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 3005? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. Now, I didn't realize when I told Senator Representative Frazier we'd get to him in a moment. You're his Senate sponsor. So let's move on to House Bill 3424. Senator Frazier, Representative Frazier.
Oh,
Senator Alvarado.
got a promotion.
He's barely a rep. Go ahead.
Wow.
I read the papers. We might have a little roast here before we get through. Senator Alvarado, why don't you lay out this piece of legislation, because I think it's going to require some discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 3424 requires classroom instruction and handgun proficiencies included as part of the basic training course for commissioned security officers to be delivered in person by an on-site instructor, and requires security officers to also receive instruction on self-defense tactics. Mr. Chairman, I do have a committee substitute.
And there's the issue. There's resistance to your substitute. Can I call Representative Frazier?
Okay. Was that from Senator King?
It was from resistance in the Lieutenant Governor's office.
Okay.
The mental health component, it's the wrong one. Just saying, why do we want it not be the substitute?
Was it
Frederick,
Senator-
yeah.
was it Senator King?
We were told last night that to going back to the House, they didn't want the substitute. So let's clarify, because I'm trying to accommodate. Frederick, would you obviously state your name and who you represent?
Frederick Frazier, House District 61.
Yeah, perfect. So it's your legislation. We were going to add a substitute, and I think last night you said that would create difficulties going.
Well, we had one difficulty that was coming from one of the senators, but we resolved that this morning.
So you don't need this substitute.
The only resistance we had was with Senator King, and we got that worked out this morning.
Senator King. That was a difficulty. We weren't going to have the votes in the committee if we'd have done the substitute. No, that's the next one. Yeah, it's King. We don't have the votes in it.
Okay, he's okay with that. I told him this morning. It's all changed since last night.
Yeah. We're back to good. Yes, sir.
The overnight rider, not language rider, but
yes, sir.
Paul Revere came through here last night and had problems with the substitute. Now it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you. And because you're going to have to go carry it back to the House if we do that, I wanted you to be here to clarify it.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Senator Alvarado. I was dealing with old information you've gotten with the member that had concerns, which would have delayed the process. So now let's get back to your bill. And
I need to lay out the substitute. Or
adopt a substitute, but I do not have a quorum here. So explain the difference
Sure.
of the substitute, and when we have a quorum, we'll have a roll call.
Okay, thank you, and appreciate Representative Frazier being here in person to weigh in on this. The committee substitute requires applicants for a commission security officer license to undergo a psychological test.
And that was going to be the difficulty with some members, but you've clarified.
Right. Senator King, I understand, was the only one that had an issue
Was
with it, and we sat next to each other in another committee about 15, 20 minutes ago, and he said he was okay. Not sure where.
I'm just trying to help you pass your legislation.
Sure,
and
we appreciate it. I do want to say that, and the reason I believe you brought this forward, the substitute, was that subsequent investigations related to the shooting in Allen, Texas, has shown that the gunman was employed as a commissioned security officer before the shooting. As part of his work as a security officer, the gunman underwent firearm training and had to demonstrate firearm proficiency. Further investigation revealed that he was discharged from the Army due to concerns about his mental health. Individuals with mental health concerns should not be eligible for commissioned security officer licenses. And I understand that's what
It's been a concern,
triggered.
especially going through the,
triggered.
Identify yourself.
Frederick Frazier, HD 61, Representative. It's been a concern with the firearm training, and we've already had the agreement with the industry. So it's not something we came up with. It's an agreement from the industry and going forward, best practices.
Very good.
You know, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Senator Hinojosa.
Yeah, on those issues, I mean, I cannot believe they didn't catch that. Obviously, you are discharged from the military for mental issues, mental health problems. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, and perhaps if this law had been in place and he had to undergo the psychological test, maybe right there that would have caught it and prevented the tragic shooting.
Well, sometimes a background check would help. Well, but thank you.
We're just trying to make a good bill better.
Very good. Anyone else like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 3424? Chair is none. Keith Oakley with the Associated Security Services Investigation of Texas is in support, does not wish to testify. Pleats in support with Chris Jones. James Parnell with Dallas Police Association is in support, does not wish to testify. Anyone else like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 3424? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. I need to get the officers up. Is that the one?
This is Frazier's other one.
Is that mine?
This is the one that we're going to leave pending.
Yeah. If y'all want to if y'all want to, I'm ready to move on to the next bill, Aaron. If y'all want to talk, you need to carry it forward. I'm going to lay out committee substitute for House Bill 2600.
At this time, Chair lays out House Bill 2600. I recognize Senator Woodbine.
House Bill 2600 would prohibit a law enforcement agency from terminating the employment of a peace officer solely because the officer sought or received mental health care. The committee substitute repeals language that is unnecessary for the intent of the bill. This is a piece of legislation that has created some discussion.
Senator Woodbine was going to have a committee substitute.
Yeah.
We'll wait for a quorum to adopt it. At this time, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 2600. We have Chris Jones from Austin for the bill as a resource witness that wishes to testify. We have John Wilkerson from the Texas Municipal Police Association for the bill, not wish to testify. We have James Purnell from the Dallas Police Association for the bill, not wish to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify on, for, or against House Bill 2600? If not, public testimony is closed.
Very good. We'll leave it pending arrival of quorum.
You're doing a great job, sir.
I'm trying.
You want it?
Both of you. Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it while we're here. Frederick, what are you also monitoring, Frederick? Do I need to get to a bill that, in fact, Chief, what are the bills that are pending that y'all have? Huh? 5202. 5202. Database. I got you. Just let me get to that.
At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 5202, recognizes Senator Whitmire to explain the bill.
Senators, House Bill 5202 will require the DPS to maintain a central database of offenders who have committed certain violent offenses, including offenses for which an affirmative finding of family violence was made.
Are there any questions? No questions. We'll open public testimony on House Bill 5202. We have Eddie Garcia, Dallas PD, for the bill, written testimony only. We have
If I could, Senator Hinojosa, I probably didn't do the bill justice. I want to itemize a couple things. A computerized central database will contain information regarding offenders who, on 2 or more occasions, have been convicted of any of the following assault, sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, for which is an affirmative finding of a family violence was made. I could give a long list. It requires a person's full name, each alias used by the person, and the person's database. It will really assist law enforcement with having a database to monitor the repeat violent offenders.
Okay. We'll continue with public testimony.
Sure,
Thank you
I'm
very
fine.
much
I just
for
wanted
the
to-
explanation. We have Rick and Deanna Beatty for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Chris Jones for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Carlos Ortiz for the bill, now wish to testify. We have John Wilkerson for the bill, now wish to testify. Des Parnell for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Bree Franco for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Ray Hunt for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Thomas Parkinson for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Lisette Rivera for the bill, now wish to testify. We have Nadia Islam for the bill, now wishing to testify. We have Joe Morris for the bill, not wishing to testify. I think we have one more card. We have Alexa Aragones for the bill. She's from the City of Houston Mayor's Office, and not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 5202? If not, public testimony is closed.
Very good. Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I'm here for any questions.
Resource witness. Thank you. Good piece of legislation. Yeah. 1182. Let me see it. There, I got it right here. 1182, Senator.
Which one?
1182.
1182. The chair lays out House Bill 1182. Recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
House Bill 1182 standardizes the monthly reporting statistics for county and district criminal courts to be the same as those for the lower courts. There's a committee substitute. Returns the bill to the author's original intent of having a broad range of statistical data rather than having it focus on any one part. In the House, there was an amendment placed on it to include having JPs keep a record of their eviction statistics. This substitute would strike that language and get it back to the author's original intent for county and district courts.
Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony. We have Paige Williams from the Dallas County CDA, I guess, County District Attorney's Office. For the bill, not wishing to testify, we have Luis Severin. For the bill, not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against 1182? If not, public testimony is closed.
Say, Chief, is there another bill that you are following that you want to be here? You're in good shape? Very good. Very good. One more, Senator. 1432. Thank y'all for coming down. Be safe. Be safe. James, take care.
1432? The chair lays out House Bill 1432, recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
Members, 1432. Before a court can grant a family violence protective order, the court must first find that the family violence is likely to occur. House Bill 1432 will instead direct courts to use reasonable grounds in determining if the applicant has been a victim of such a crime, which is the same standard for stalking, sexual assault, and human trafficking protective orders. Just allows the courts to not have such a threshold of likely to occur to be more reasonable grounds. That's pretty much what it does.
Any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 1432. We have two cards. We have Jennifer Mudge from the Texas Council of Family Violence for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Thomas Parkinson for the bill, not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 1432? If not, public testimony is closed.
Very good.
1486. At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 1486, recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
Adds 1486 adds telecommunicators among the peace officers that are covered by law enforcement agencies' mental health leave policies. Strictly adds telecommunicators to allow them to have the leave that their fellow peace officers have.
Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 1486. We have Chris Jones for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Carlos Ortiz from the San Antonio Police Department Association for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have John Wilkerson from Texas Municipal Police Association for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Hannah Gill from the National Alliance on Mental Illness for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Joe Morris from the Game Warden Peace Officers for the bill, not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 1486? If not, public testimony is closed.
Thank you. 2201.
At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 2201, recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
Current law, members, requires, it actually allows TDCJ to rather place an inmate in a substance abuse felony punishment facility. TDCJ can instead designate a discrete area in a prison as a treatment area. It just gives TDCJ additional flexibility to get treatment to inmates in prisons that were not designated as treatment facilities. Hopefully it'll give them another tool for substance abuse treatment in all their facilities.
Okay. Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 2201. We have one card from Oscar Mendoza. It's a resource witness. He's from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 2201? If not, public testimony is closed.
3603.
At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 3603. Recognize Chairman Whitmire to explain the bill.
House Bill 3603 establishes a centralized record-keeping system for the collection and payments of crime victims' funds. It addresses the issue of double collections. Currently, there's no way to see if a victim of a crime has been paid funds from the crime victims' funds from the side of the clerk who is in charge of collecting those funds in original charge. Just a better data record-keeping for the Crime Victims Compensation Fund.
Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 3603. We have Ron Steffa, as a resource witness only, from TDCJ. We have Jennifer, can't read the last name, hopefully I don't butcher it, Fismansky, for the bill, now wish to testify for the Combined Law Enforcement Association. We have John Wilkerson for the bill, no testimony. He's from the Texas Municipal Police Association. Anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 3603? If not, public testimony is closed.
4164.
The chair lays out House Bill 4164. Recognizes Chairman Whitmire to explain the bill.
House Bill 4164 will label the improper use of service animals as an offense if a person knowingly represents an animal as a service animal when it is not specifically trained or equipped to help a person with a disability.
Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony. We have Jeff Miller for the bill, not wish to testify. We have Dennis Borrell for the bill, not wish to testify. Stacy Sutton Kirby for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Jennifer Stensmensky for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Nadia Islam for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Alexa Argones for the bill, not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 3603? If not, public testimony is closed.
4779.
This time, Chair lays out House Bill 4779. Recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
House Bill 4779 clarifies the statutes so that the theft of merchandise valued at less than $100 does not constitute organized retail theft, but is instead treated as petty theft as originally intended. House Bill 4779 amends the Penal Code to revise the offense of organized retail theft, which currently applies to a person who intentionally conducts, promotes, facilitates an activity in which the person receives, possesses, or disposes of stolen retail merchandise. Accordingly, the bill removes the misdemeanor penalty range for the offense, which applies only to offenses where the total value is less than $100.
Are there any questions of Chairman Whitmire? If not, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 4779. We have James Smith for the bill from the San Antonio Police Department, not wishing to testify. We have Shia Place from the Texas Criminal Defense Law Association for the bill, not wishing to testify. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify on or against House Bill 4779? If not, public testimony is closed.
I think that's me. Whose? Okay. What's your first name?
1577.
Chair recognizes Senator Flores on 1557.
1577.
1577.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, currently, offenders are released on mandatory supervision to complete the remainder of their sentence in the community where their time served plus any time credited or equals their sentence. That is, unless the Board of Pardon and Parole makes a finding that the inmate's good conduct time is not an accurate reflection of their potential for rehabilitation and their release would endanger the public. House Bill 1577 would add the list of offenses ineligible for discretionary mandatory supervision so that the parole board can determine if they are eligible for parole and set the time for review. The bill would let the board take into consideration public safety, particularly to prevent further crimes against victims. Additionally, by giving parole board discretion in setting a timeline for review of these offenses, victims of certain violent assault cases would not be forced to continually re-traumatize themselves at parole hearings. And the author wishes to thank Houston Crime Stoppers for championing this legislation.
Oscar Mendoza with TCJ as a resource witness. Chris Jones with Cleve. John Wilkerson with Municipal Police. Tom Parkinson, Shea Place, and a large number of others that will be read into the record. Anybody else would like to testify for or against House Bill 1577? Chair is none. Public testimony is closed.
2019.
Mm-hmm. Senator Flores to lay out and explain House Bill 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, Texas has made incredible strides towards clearing what was once a large backlog of rape kits. However, there is still work to be done. The current 5-year statute of limitations for burglary of a habitation with intent to commit sexual assault, limiting the prosecution of these crimes in cases where rape kits have been delayed. House Bill 2019 seeks to ensure that individuals can be charged with burglary of a habitation with intent to commit sexual assault with which they would have otherwise been charged but for the delay of DNA testing of rape kits by removing the 5-year statute of limitations for that burglary offense when DNA has been collected. This will align the offense with the same circumstance for sexual assault. These are violent, traumatizing events as this bill works to ensure timely testing failures do not inhibit their full prosecution under the law.
Very good. Paige Williams with Dallas County DA is present. If we have any questions, she's in support. Jennifer Sheminsky, Combined Law Enforcement in support, and John Wilkerson, Texas Police Municipal. Anyone else like to testify for House Bill 2019? If not, public testimony is closed.
3686.
Chair lays out House Bill 3686 and recognizes Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, we must strive to maintain the integrity of the justice system by not wrongfully attaching arrest records and files to individuals who are not guilty of the crime. House Bill 3686 established that a person who has been placed under custodial or non-custodial arrest for committing a felony or misdemeanor is entitled to have all their records and files related to the arrest expunged if two things have occurred. The person is charged solely with an offense involving the manufacture, delivery, possession of a controlled substance. A laboratory analysis of the supposed controlled substance actually reveals no controlled substance is present. Once the trial court dismisses charges an individual for the reasons this bill sets out, then a district court must enter an order of expunction. Restoring individuals with a clean slate after finding they were not in possession of a controlled substance is critical steps toward reforming the justice system and ensuring fairness for all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alicia Costello with the Texas Center for Justice and Equity is in support. And Paige Williams with the Dallas County DA's office is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 3686? Not, public testimony is closed.
4628.
Chair recognizes Senator Flores to lay out House Bill 4628.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, in 2019, the legislature passed Molly Jane's Law, fundamentally changed reporting mechanisms for law enforcement agencies who are investigating sexual assault cases. House Bill 4628 builds on this work by setting exact response timelines for law enforcement and the state laboratory when a case-to-case match is made for a combined DNA index system. This is a great bill that will allow for victims to receive timely notifications on completed lab tests and assist law enforcement in any further investigations. We thank you for consideration of this bill.
Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 4628? If not, public testimony is closed.
That's it.
Got them? Where are we?
I could probably lay out the bill. I can lay out House Bill 1506. Mr. Chairman, I can lay out House Bill 1506 for Parker. I can lay out, correct,
1506?
correct.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa to lay out and explain House Bill 1506.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Currently, statute of limitations for the offense of abandoning or endangering a child is 5 years from the date of the commission of the offense. This means a victim of child abandonment or endangerment must come forward against a defendant within 5 years after the commission of the offense. Interested parties believe the current statute of limitations offers too short of a time for victims of child abandonment or endangerment to come forward. House Bill 1506 seeks to resolve this issue by raising the statute of limitations to 10 years after the commission of the offense.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone President like to testify for or against House Bill 1506? If not, several law enforcement, my friend Tom Parkinson sign in and Shay Place with the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association is in opposition. Anyone else? House Bill 1506. If not, public testimony is closed.
I think he also has House Bill 3556.
You want to do 3556?
Yes.
Parker, Senator Hinojosa.
Thank you.
House Bill 3556.
Thank you, Chairman and members. House Bill 3556 seeks to create a provision similar to Skyler's Law in West Virginia that creates a framework for local law enforcement to request regional alert through the Amber Alert system based on specific criteria. Under this bill, a request for an alert may be made by a local law enforcement agency that knows a child is missing but has not verified the criteria described by section of the government code. And if the chief law enforcement officer of the local enforcement agency believes the activation of the alarm system is warranted, that's what the bill does.
Very good. Anyone present like to testify for or against House Bill 3556? Not, public testimony is closed. Where are we, Mike? What? All of them? Okay, let's put our heads together on when we're going to vote. 10 o'clock? Why don't we try to meet back here at 10 o'clock to vote? And we'll try to round up the other members.
We're going to vote at 10 o'clock?
Sir?
If we're going to vote at 10 o'clock?
I think so. That makes sense. All right. We stand recessed to 10. Thank you all for your participation. Clerk call the roll.
Whitmer.
Present.
Flores. Here. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Here. Okay, there is a quorum. Let me run through a bunch of bills. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 55 by Springer be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 55 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 64 by Sparks be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 64 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 611 by Zaffarini be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 611 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Bentoncourt moves that House Bill 1133 by Flores be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 1133 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Bentoncourt moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1136 by Hughes be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1136 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves it be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that 1163 by King be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1163 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1163 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves the adoption of committee substitute for House Bill 1182. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1182 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. Committee substitute for House Bill 1182 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 1182 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1222 by Bentoncourt be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1222 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1385 by King be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1385 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1385 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1432 by Whitmire be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes and no nays. House Bill 1432 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1432 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1486 by Whitmire be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1486 reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1506 by Parker be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1506 reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1506 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1577 by Huffman be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye. 4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1577 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1577 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1589 by Zaffarini be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yep.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
There being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 1589 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. And now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1589 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1603 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yep.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 1603 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1603 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1730 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 1730 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1730 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 1833. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 1833 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 1833 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 1833 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2019 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2019 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2019 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2086 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2086 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2086 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2087 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2087 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2087 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2187 by Menendez be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
There being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2187 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2187 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves now House Bill 2201 by Whitmer be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yep.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2201 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2201 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2523 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2523 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2523 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Okay. Senator Flores moves that we adopt the committee substitute for House Bill 2600. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. It's been requested that we leave that one pending. Senator Flores moves now House Bill 2741 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2741 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that it be certified, 2741 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. It's so granted. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2715 by Alvarado be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Aye.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2715 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 2715 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Flores moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 3005. Alvarado. Huh?
3005.
Oh,
That's the next
that
one.
goes the next. Strike that adoption of the substitute. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3005 by Alvarado be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Aye.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 3005 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3005 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. Is so granted. Now we got Senator Flores moving committee adoption of committee substitute for House Bill 3424. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 3424 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Aye.
There being 4 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 3424 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 3424 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted.
Senator Huffman's here. Senator Huffman.
Well, Senator Huffman present.
May I?
Is there any objection to Senator Huffman being able to be recorded on votes we've already taken? Chair is none. So granted. Now, Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3556 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
There being
Aye.
5.
5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3556 reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Now, Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3686 by Huffman be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
Aye.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3686 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3686 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3603 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
Aye.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3603 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3603 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3852 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
Aye.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3852 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3852 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Now Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3858 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yep.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
Aye.
Being 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3858 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3858 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3917 by Middleton be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
Aye.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3917 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3917 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3981 by Middleton be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. Bettencourt.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3981 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores
King is
moves
present
that.
now. Senator King just arrived.
Yeah. Show Senator King present, and Senator King, is there objection to Senator King being shown voting on all the previous bills? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3981 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King. Bettencourt.
There being 6 ayes, no nays, House Bill 3981 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 3981 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now, Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4164 by Whitmire be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
Being 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 4164 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4164 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4628 by Huffman be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
Being 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 4628 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4628 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now, Senator Flores moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 4759 by Menendez and report it back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
Being 5 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 4759 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 4759 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4779 by Whitmire be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
Being 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 4779 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4779 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now, Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 5183 be adopted. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 5183 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
In 5 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 5183 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 5183 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 5202 by Whitmire be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
There being 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 5202 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 5202 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 5309 by Middleton be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman. King.
In 5 ayes, no nays, House Bill 5309 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores
Dean
moves.
Whitmire, may I ask you a question? Is this the next bill, the last bill that we're going to vote? This might be your last criminal justice hearing. I don't know if God is willing and if things go as they should. So this will be the last vote, the last bill you ever vote out of criminal justice. I just wanted to mark the event. Tell you I'm proud to be sitting here with you.
Well, thank you, Joan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator, but I didn't call you Joan.
Please call me Joan.
Well, thank you. It is. It probably hadn't sunk in, but still a lot of things have to happen. But God willing, it will be the last. And we've made a lot of improvement, and there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes, but you have made a difference, and that's all that counts.
Thank you, Joan.
It's an honor to serve.
Thank you. Here, here.
Aye.
Present.
I forgot where I was. House Bill 5309. Have I done it?
Yes, sir. There's the next one.
Joan was
Just
watching.
trying to get an extra one in.
Yeah. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 5370 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer,
Yes.
Flores,
Aye.
Hinojosa, Huffman,
Aye.
King,
Five ayes, no nays. House Bill 5370 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 5370 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? The chair is so granted. Joan, we might get one more meeting out of me.
Okay.
I understand there's been an agreement on the second chance. So I'm going to talk to the Lieutenant Governor if he'll recess for 15 minutes to allow us to go probably in the press room, and or we can come back in here. We probably need to at least have it where if there is a public witness, we can take testimony. So I don't know the time. I'll have to suspend and get it posted and the posting notice suspended, and then have a little recess for it. But other than that, thank y'all for being here. That's a lot of laws this morning. We'll see what happens. Your boat, you're driving a boat intoxicated with kids in it is a big one. All right, we stand recessed. Thank y'all. Thanks for your nice words.